Find a style that fits at a price that fits. Let Perfect Look salons create a new style just for you. It's all part of the perfect look. Perfect look, perfect sense.
Political correctness gone to extremes, Sunday at 6.
The House of Representatives agrees on a budget for 1996, which they say will bring the budget into balance. The American soldier facing court-martial because he refuses to serve under UN command. He's a real nowhere man. And John and Paul and George and Pete. Recognition at last.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. The main news again is from Washington, and the main event is that the House of Representatives has passed a budget bill for 1996, which will, in the next 7 years, cut $1 trillion in federal spending. We say main event because, like a fight card there are all sorts of other skirmishes which have yet to be settled, including how to get that short-term funding reinstated so that 800,000 government employees can go back to work. We begin on Capitol Hill again this evening, and here's ABC's John Cochran.
Everyone knew the Republican plan to control spending is what has really divided Washington. Most Democrats screamed murder.
I rise in opposition to this murder of Medicaid. It cuts child nutrition.
There's no education, no job training.
This bill will kill elderly people.
It is unfair.
Republicans say they're not actually cutting most programs, just slowing the growth of spending, and with big savings, especially Medicare, $270 billion, Medicaid, $163 billion, welfare, $81 billion, food stamps, $35 billion. Republicans would use some savings for $245 billion in tax cuts, most of it for $500 per year child tax credits for married couples earning less than $110,000. Republican John Kasich said the country is fed up with the budget fight, but he said both Republicans and Democrats have deeply held convictions on this.
This is not about politics. This is not about the Republican Party. It's not about Newt. It's not about me. It's not about Gephardt. It's not about the president. It's about all of us standing on principle.
Republicans won with only 5 Democrats voting with them. The president has already said he will veto this budget. The freshman class of Republicans warned both the president and their own leaders they will not compromise.
On a bedrock principle of balancing the budget in 7 years, using accurate numbers and forecasts, we believe we have to be steadfast.
Any other room for compromise?
There'll be compromises regarding expenditures in one program versus another.
But no compromise, say the Republican freshmen, when it comes to balancing the budget in 7 years. And since those freshmen hold the balance of power, it's very easy for Newt Gingrich to tell the White House, even if I wanted to make big concessions, my new guys wouldn't let me. John Cochran, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Well, as John Cochran says there, no sooner had the House passed the budget bill than the White House said it was a dead issue. It contains the biggest Medicare cuts in history, said Mr. Clinton, and I will veto it. On the other matter, the effort to bring government employees back to work, there is a word floating around the White House tonight that has not been heard all week. Compromise. Here's ABC's Britt Hume.
The first public sign of a shift in the atmosphere came from Senate Democratic leader Daschle this morning. He was talking about the president's demand for a so-called continuing resolution, a CR, to reopen the government with no strings attached.
He might be willing to back off that if the Republicans will come to the table in good faith, looking at other principles, other issues that they may want to add to the continuing resolution.
Not a big shift, perhaps, but there was more. Listen to Presidential Press Secretary McCurry a little later.
We are looking for ways, as the President indicated yesterday, that we can work through this current crisis and come up with a continuing resolution acceptable to the Congress and acceptable to the President.
Yes, McCurry said the President would go ahead and veto that continuing resolution that calls for a balanced budget in 7 years. But unlike this week's earlier vetoes, there would be no TV cameras present and no presidential comments except a written statement. What has the White House worried in part was the vote in the Senate last night on that measure to keep the government open, the one with the balanced budget requirement attached to it.
The joint resolution has passed, the yeas 60, the nays 37.
7 Democrats joined the Republicans on that vote. Not a major defection, but a sign of trouble for the president in his own ranks.
I think that there is a growing sense among congressional Democrats that the president is taking an unreasonable position in closing the federal government simply to avoid an opportunity to balance the budget.
You support the congressman's position?
Congressional Republicans said calls to their offices were running heavily in their favor. The White House tonight offered a compromise that moved toward Republican demands that the president commit himself to a 7-year balanced budget with the numbers verified by the Congressional Budget Office. Said one official here, we're looking for a way out of this. Britt Hume, ABC News, the White House.
Well, as is evident to a lot of you, a lot of people around the country are already paying deeply for this budget impasse. Here's some examples. Today, Arizona's governor called in the National Guard to help run the Grand Canyon National Park. Lawyers in the Clinton administration, however, have ruled that the operation of a federal park cannot be turned over to the state. And so Arizona's #1 tourist attraction will remain closed. And so will Yosemite National Park in California. ABC's Brian Rooney is there.
On this beautiful morning, Yosemite offered the kind of sights visitors from all over the world come to see. But this is what they heard.
We're closing the campground?
Yeah, I heard that. We drove 1,100 miles from Washington.
On the eve of Thanksgiving week, one of the busiest of the year in Yosemite, everyone had to be out by noon.
Is there any chance of anything changing between now and then? Slim? You're asking the wrong person. Yeah.
Here in the simplicity of the woods, people are having a hard time understanding the complexities of Washington.
The guy who pays all the taxes, the hardworking guy, doesn't get to go on his vacation because they don't have their act together. Yeah, but they expect me to pay my taxes on time.
These unhappy tourists packed their bags. Rock climbers collapsed their tents. At the elegant Ahwahnee Hotel in the park, guests who planned for more than a year to come here had to cut short their stay.
This is something for the people, and I don't think it should be taken away from them.
5 weddings were planned for the Yosemite Chapel. They all had to be canceled. Yosemite has closed only twice in its history, the first time because of fire. This time, 500 park employees have been laid off, and the park concessions expect to lose $200,000 to $300,000 a day. 1,000 concession employees will miss one of their most important paychecks of the year.
This work week is usually what we buy our Christmas gifts with. So it's a tragic thing.
Normally, the national parks operate year-round because that's what nature does. But this is nature on a federal budget. Brian Rooney, ABC News, Yosemite National Park.
When we come back, we'll have one more important political story. Why Senator Dole is keeping his distance from Newt Gingrich. 6 days after he disappeared, the husband of Congresswoman Enid Waldholtz turns himself in. And our person of the week and her precious cargo.
To build something that endures takes hard-working people. People who care. People with vision. And the strength to see the job through. We know. Since 1904, that's how we've built a name for ourselves in financial services. Providian. Insurance, credit, and retirement savings.
Temperatures are falling, so are the prices during JCPenney days. Friday and Saturday, you'll save 25%, 33%, even 50%. JCPenney days are here. Cool days mean hot savings throughout the store.
It's a special time of year.
Hurry in this Friday and Saturday.
JCPenney days are here.
This enormous fight over the budget is having an impact on the presidential race, and no one knows that more than Senator Bob Dole because it is complicating his candidacy. Here's ABC's Jim Wooten.
While they played around with the president. From the beginning of the budget battle, these two Republican icons have been joined at the hip. Though Senator Dole steps back when he can, lets the speaker take the lead and the heat. Watch this symbolic moment.
Speakers, Air Force want to close matter now.
As the speaker returns to the microphones, the majority leader quickly exits stage right, putting some distance between himself and Gingrich as though the speaker's problems might be contagious. Good idea, says this Republican consultant.
it's good policy for him, and it's also good politics for Bob Dole to not be that lightning rod out there that the Speaker is right now.
But Gingrich is just one of Dole's problems. There's also running the Senate while running for president. Only so much time for either. Can't be in Washington and in Florida for the big debate tonight and the straw poll tomorrow.
How you doing?
Though his wife was there today, and his campaign staff thinks people will understand.
So while it's better to have him here, the Senator really has carried his message over the last 2 months, and that message has been understood and it's appreciated by the delegates.
Jim, how you? But Dole's constant nemesis, Senator Graham, was in Orlando today, sniping at the majority leader's absence from the debate.
There are many people in the Dole campaign, and perhaps the senator himself, who would like to duck this debate. I don't think that's something they can get away with.
And Senator Graham is warning Dole against any compromise on the budget, urging him to stand fast with Speaker Gingrich. It's a bit of a circle and a bit of a dilemma. Senator Dole was always the front runner in the Republican race, but with General Powell out of it, few doubt he can now be denied the nomination. Still, he's been around the track a couple of times before, and he knows as well as anyone just how slippery it can be. Jim Wooten, ABC News, Washington.
Well, there have been some distractions in Washington this week from the budget battle. For 6 days, the husband of a congresswoman has been missing, and so have $2 million. Today, he has surfaced. Here's ABC's Michelle Norris.
6 days after he disappeared, Joseph Waldholtz walked into this federal building and turned himself in.
Mr. Waldholtz, accompanied by his attorney, surrendered himself to the custody of the FBI at approximately 11:45 this morning.
In court, Waldholtz's attorney explained that his client disappeared because he, quote, needed to get his thoughts together. Utah Congresswoman Enid Green Waldholtz said she was the victim of a grand-scale con job.
Yeah, I have every confidence in the Department of Justice and their ability to get to the bottom of the fraud and the deception that Joe perpetrated on my family, on his family, on me, on friends, and many others.
Joseph Waldholtz disappeared amid mounting questions about his conduct as the finance manager of his wife's 1994 campaign. Federal investigators had questions about the $1.8 million the Waldholtzes spent on the campaign, more than any other House member of the freshman Republican class. Sources say the Congresswoman obtained a $4 million advance from her parents during the campaign, with the understanding that her husband would pay them back from a $5 million trust fund that he controlled. The problem was there was no trust fund, and when Joseph Waldholtz disappeared, so did $2 million. Waldholtz is also suspected of conducting an elaborate check-kiting scheme, and his wife maintains that he's responsible for several bounced checks, late rent payments, and $45,000 in personal expenses charged on an employee's credit card. Joseph Waldholtz, who is not accused of any crime, was released on the condition that he limit his travel and make daily contact with the FBI. He will appear again in court next Wednesday. Michelle Norris, ABC News, Washington.
On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrials gained another 20.5 points to close at 49.89, and on the NASDAQ market, stocks gained half a point. Incidentally, those who've made a killing on the market may be in the market for this, a solid gold Monopoly board. It's for sale tonight in London at a party celebrating the 60th anniversary of the famous game. The asking price is nearly $2 million. As somebody noted, there is always the cardboard version. We'll be back in just a moment.
Salad Shooter helps you every day.
How about some cheese for your pizza or perfect Salad Shooter hash browns for breakfast? Vegetables sliced or shredded, and nothing tops a salad like Salad Shooter.
Point and shoot to help you every day.
Presto Salad Shooter electric slicer shredder. So you can fill an omelet, slice a beet, make a soup, top a treat. Clean up easy, dishwasher safe, stores anywhere.
Salad Shooter helps you every day.
Original and professional Salad Shooter.
Presenting a cat box filler that controls odors all hours of the day and night. Tidy Cat. Its patented continuous action formula gives you round-the-clock odor protection. Make it Tidy Cat or Tidy Scoop, and make it tidy all the time.
If you want 100% of 11 of many vitamins and minerals, try Total. To get that from Corn Flakes, you'll both have to add more than just milk.
Yeah, such as?
Well, you can start with these. Make Total part of a balanced diet. One bowl, 100%.
Some people see the world of financial services as it is. Others see it as it can be. Bolder, more creative, easier and faster to travel, able to offer new products and services by combining the best thinking of the best minds in investing, insuring, and lending. The new Travelers Group. Share the vision. Travelers Group.
Nobody does it like you, the way that you do. Nobody's got the power to please me.
The new Hoover Steamvac Deluxe with a 5-brush agitator. It washes and extracts dirt like a whole crew of professionals. So you know, there's really no comparison.
Nobody does it like you, Hoover. Nobody does it like you.
Barbara gets intimate with sexy George Clooney.
I won't get married.
Then Roseanne and her new family. And Sandra Bullock reveals what it takes to be a leading lady.
There's no way. I will be 36, 24, 36, and blonde.
The Barbara Walters special tonight.
At the Bosnian peace talks near Dayton, Ohio, you can tell how important a weekend it's going to be by who's arriving. Secretary of State Warren Christopher flew in today from Japan. The Secretary of Defense William Perry is also there. They hope to produce an agreement probably this weekend that will foster a lasting peace between the Croatians, the Bosnians, and the Serbs. American sources are predicting success. At a U.S. military base in Germany today, the court-martial proceedings of an Army medic. Michael New is the first American soldier to be put on trial for disobeying an order to serve in a United Nations peacekeeping force. Here's ABC's Mike Lee.
Specialist Michael New, a 22-year-old U.S. Army medic, was stationed in Germany when his unit was ordered to serve with UN peacekeeping units in Macedonia. He refused to go. Specialist New says he swore a patriotic oath to the U.S. Constitution, not the UN. Now Michael New, Good Conduct Medal, service in the Persian Gulf, is being court-martialed, facing a possible 6 months in prison and a dishonorable discharge for refusing to obey orders. The legal issue. Does a U.S. president have the right to place American troops under the command of a power other than the United States?
The order that was given to Specialist New during early October 1995 is an illegal order. And historically, there's never been a court-martial of an American soldier who expressed his reluctance to wear the uniform of a foreign government.
Military prosecutors argue the president has the constitutional authority to place U.S. forces under operational control of a foreign commander when doing so serves American security interests. Any U.S. peacekeeping mission to Bosnia would not be affected by this case because American forces in Bosnia would be under NATO, not UN command. Mike Lee, ABC News.
Just one other note from overseas. Those who support the military rulers in Algeria were celebrating today after the victory of a career officer in yesterday's presidential election. The election of Liamin Zeroual is not expected to end the violence between the Algerian military and the nation's Islamic opposition, which has led so far to 40,000 deaths. We'll be back in just a moment.
Last week we thought we had a 24-hour bug.
But we may have had a mild case of salmonella poisoning.
They came from bacteria, which was spread around our kitchen to other foods.
Now we use Lysol antibacterial kitchen cleaner. As it cleans, it kills the bacteria and keeps them from spreading.
Which may help keep us from getting sick. Get Lysol antibacterial kitchen cleaner.
Viruses, bacteria, even illness may be creeping into your home because mice can carry disease, so don't go near them. Put Decon mouse-proof baits wherever mice feed to get rid of them fast. And protect your family from the threat. Decon mouse-proof. Protect your home. Protect your family.
Mother would say furniture spray. You're never too busy to use Old English oil, but this is Old English spray. It has a touch of Old English oil to help protect and moisturize wood every time you clean. It's the kind of furniture spray you could bring home to Mother. Give your wood the Old English treatment.
Mortgage payments, college tuition, career choices. People can get so lost in their day-to-day concerns that they simply avoid planning for their retirement. Unfortunately, that's life. New York Life has all kinds of life insurance policies to help make sure you enjoy your retirement. We can even help you catch up if you started planning late. That's New York Life. the company you keep.
It's the limited. Extra early, very smart. Holiday sale. Yeah.
Save an extra 15% on everything this Saturday and Sunday only.
It's the limited holiday sale.
Save an extra 15% this Saturday and Sunday only at the new Limited.
Now, you can save 25% off regular prices on some of Goodyear's most popular passenger performance and light truck tires. Everyday low prices start at only $19.99. Believe it. Just turn up at any participating Goodyear retailer. But hurry, this sale ends soon.
Overseas again from London tonight, the music legend who missed his date with history. Just before the Beatles went big time in 1963, their manager decided to remove Pete Best as the drummer. And for a very long time, Best was little more than a hard luck footnote to the Beatles' legendary history. But now, as their widely publicized anthology is about to be released, Best finally will share in their good fortune. Here's ABC's Richard Gisbert.
There's nothing magical or mysterious about a tour that stops at a club called King Tut's Wah Wah Hut. But that's where one former Beatle has brought his band tonight. Pete Best drummed with John, Paul, and George from 1959 to 62. Then, with the group on the verge of superstardom, he was fired, told he was not good enough. Not by the band, but by the manager, Brian Epstein.
This is, most probably what hurts me more than anything else. They weren't there to actually be part of the dismissal.
What followed was a revolution. Pete Best got left behind in Liverpool. Eventually, he got a government job and raised a family in this working-class neighborhood. John, Paul, George, and Ringo sold millions of records, but Pete never got a penny. What bitterness Pete Best felt for the Beatles, he kept inside.
There's no animosity. My God, if it had been me, I would have blown the whole group up.
Instead, Best took it out on himself, at one point attempting suicide, before finally getting over what might have been.
You're in a state of shock, for quite some time. But there comes a period when you turn around and say, okay, it has happened. You've got to come to terms, with your life.
Patience has finally brought its just reward. The new Beatles album, the anthology, consists primarily of old, unreleased material. Since Pete played on 10 songs, he gets royalties, from $3 to $12 million, depending on sales. But what pleases him most, he says, is not the money, but something else he was owed.
To me, it's recognition for services rendered. I suppose that's one way of putting it.
Given what happened in 1962, though, no one can blame Pete Best for not getting carried away at the prospect of riches. Richard Gisbert, ABC News, Liverpool.
That Liverpool voice brings them back. We'll be back in just a moment.
World News Tonight with Peter Jennings and the Person of the Week are brought to you by Aflac, insuring over 38 million people worldwide.
Louis, our oldest girl, she broke her neck in a car accident. Now she's having fun with her daughter's wedding.
It's been wonderful since the surgery. I don't have to think about my neck anymore. I got Aflac through work. When you need it, it's a blessing.
Aflac covers the unexpected cost of getting better so you can get on with life.
I think she's too young.
I think they're ready.
It's fine with me. I just want a room.
Mom, you're the best.
Well, what brought that on?
Well, we couldn't have redone this house without you. And with your arthritis and all.
Tim, my arthritis pain is under control.
Evidently. Did you find a cure?
No, but I did find Arthritis Foundation pain relievers.
You mean like the Arthritis Foundation?
Exactly. There are 4 different kinds, and they're all terrific.
And part of the purchase price goes to research to find a cure.
So maybe you won't have to worry.
Mom, you are the best.
Arthritis Foundation pain relievers, for relief you can count on until we find a cure.
Finally, great popcorn from your microwave.
Power Pop.
Presto Power Pop Microwave Multi-Popper. Exclusive power-based concentrates microwaves to pop virtually every kernel. Pop with oil for a buttery flavor.
Power Pop.
Pop without oil for a healthier, low-fat snack. A third cup of popcorn, 3 quarts of crunch. Other microwave poppers can't measure up. See? Dishwasher safe, too. Nothing pops like Power Pop. That's why it's endorsed by Orville Redenbacher.
Power Pop.
Steve Dunn coming up at 6:30. If your son doesn't make the team, can you take the coach to court? One family says the school's coach went too far. And with growth in Clark County, there's a shortage of workers, but not with volunteer efforts on a new project at 6:30.
Finally this evening, our person of the week. This woman came to our attention when she was honored by the Business Enterprise Trust. As its name suggests, it was for business and enterprise that she more than qualified. This is a woman who always wanted to own her own business. And when she finally made it, she made it her business to do the right thing by others.
I'm in this community to provide jobs for individuals.
Okay, how are you doing, Joe?
Okay.
What's wrong with the bus?
Rachel Hubka of Rachel's Bus Company on Chicago's West Side. The kind of tough inner-city neighborhood where in recent years, scores of companies have pulled out. And Rachel moved in.
I thought that by going into a depressed area of Chicago, there would be a great market for school bus drivers. There's high unemployment in this area, and so I really thought not only would that give people in this neighborhood an opportunity to work, it would give me a new source of drivers.
The busing business is very competitive in Chicago. 50 companies vie to transport children to the city's public schools, and drivers are hard to come by. Rachel Hubka knows how to contact them.
Since we give complete job training, we can take someone who's been a housewife or a displaced factory worker and teach them how to drive a school bus.
Rachel's Bus Company has 35 full-time employees, 120 part-time drivers, and almost all are minorities. Napoleon Moore has been one of Rachel's drivers for 5 years.
If it weren't for Rachel, a lot of these people wouldn't be working. There's so many people these days without jobs, and for me to have a job, you know, I feel I'm very blessed.
I truly believe that if a person is given an opportunity to do a job, they're given opportunities to excel in that job, and they start taking a good paycheck home and are able to take better care of their families. I don't see how someone could not have pride in themselves.
Okay.
Liddell Johnson has been with Rachel Hubka since she opened for business in 1989. Liddell was a factory worker, but Rachel saw greater potential in her, and so she made her head of personnel. Liddell Johnson now hires the drivers.
When we're transporting kids back and forth to school, you know, you're transporting precious cargo. And, I've got kids, so, you know, I want to put somebody behind that wheel that I feel safely that would transport my child.
Most of Rachel's drivers have children, and most are single parents.
When I pick my students up, there's this trust and expectation in me from them that I'm going to deliver them to their destination safely and on time.
Not just I'm a bus driver, but I'm a bus driver with pride because I got all of your future in the palm of my hand while I got this motor running.
Rachel Hubka understands her drivers. She gives them business cards, and she rewards them with 10% commission on every new client they bring in. That makes Rachel's Bus Company their company, too, and in their neighborhood, which so many other people were ready to write off. Where one good businesswoman saw an opportunity to do business and do good.
They're dedicated, they're loyal, they're very conscientious in their duties to the children. I feel I have the best group of drivers anywhere.
And so we choose Rachel Hubka, who knows that the better the community, the better for business. Good lesson. That's our report on World News Tonight. Nightline later. Have a good weekend. Good night.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
The word is out. The Beatles Anthology is a celebration of magical moments with a steady flow of surprises.